we are actually in a series that would hopefully aim to help all of us here with their well-being. So kung di nyo pa napanood or napakinggan yung mga previous episodes or topics, I encourage you to do so. In the first week, we talked about what do we do when we bounce back, when we fall. Last week, we talked about the shapes of anxiety starting with the circle. Yung tinatawag natin na perception circle. That our perception and our view of life affects how we live our lives. We also talk about the word anxiety. Naglagay tayo ng functional term, which is the fear of the unknown and the physiological response to a real or perceived threat. We also said that this is something that needs to be approached holistically, meaning if someone who's watching or listening here who is undergoing a mental illness and needs professional help, please do so because this is a multidisciplinary approach. But hopefully, for everyone of us who's watching or hearing this, it will provide a general information that aims to help you have a more proactive way of living your life to the fullest. Or kumbaga, yung tinatawag natin na a healthier well-being. Last week, we mentioned the perception circle. That a healthy person is someone who has a big circle, which means a big perception of self and other people. Aware siya sa mga nangyari sa paligid niya at sa sarili niya. But when challenges, problems inside, internal, or outside comes, sometimes, whether that's a real threat or a perceived threat, our perception circle shrinks. The way to fight this is we need to have an awareness of self and at the same time being exposed to other people that would help us have a perspective not just of us, but of other people as well. Kaya napaka-importante na may environment sa paligid natin na tutulong sa atin para palakihin yung circle natin. But we left with the question, what do we do? Or what should we do to have a bigger perspective or a bigger circle about ourselves? That's why we are talking about this week. Ito ngayon, topic natin is the awareness squares. Awareness squares. Being aware of ourself. Now, I would use something here that maybe for some of you narinig mo na at malamang iba sa inyo ginagamit sa mga team building. At ito yung Johari's window. Narinig na ba yon? Johari's window. O itong Johari's window ay isang tool na ginawa ni Joseph Luft at ni Harry Ingham noong 1955. It was created to allow people to communicate and ultimately open up, grow our perception circles, in which an understanding of important things about yourself and other members of the team can result. Okay, so ito yon. Yung Johari's window is built on two key principles. Number one, that you build trust with people when you disclose information about yourself. So hindi ibig sabihin ito na yung mga bagay na marirealize mo sa sarili mo at sa ibang tao ay open information. Ibig sabihin, hindi mo to minsan kailangan i-post sa Facebook or sa social media. Now let me just pause here. No? Sometimes, that is actually our problem. We put our private concerns publicly. And when there are certain things na dapat dinideal or hinahandle privately, nilalagay natin sa public. Ang problema pag nilagay natin sa public, sa social media, hindi natin kontrolado yung environment na yun. And sometimes it leads to medyo nakaka-toxic yung environment na yun. Kaya nga, I want to encourage you, if you are undergoing a private issue, don't bring it up publicly. Look for key people that you can trust, that you can disclose your information. Alam ko minsan, no, may mga tao tayong pinagkatiwalaan at nasaktan tayo, kaya hirap tayo magtiwala uli. Pero, mas mabuti na yon kaysa ipakita mo yung mga issue mo publicly to people who most probably don't know you well, and who most probably will judge you. Now, I'm not saying na lahat sa social media ay toxic. No. What I'm saying is mas malaki yung probability if you just open yourself up with the right people. Number two, key principle with Johari's window is this, using feedback. So, napaka-crucial niyan. Sana, yun yung isang discipline na meron tayo, na sanay tayo makakuha ng feedback. Na pag meron nagsabi sa atin, hindi natin kina-cancel out agad. Lalo na sa isang generation na uso yung canceling culture. Na nakakalimutan natin, teka, may point ba siya? Saan kaya siya nanggagaling? Yan, lumiliit yung perception natin pag nagka-cancel out tayo eh. Cancel culture allows us to have a smaller circle because we no longer think of their perspective and whether that is true or of merit. Talagang dinidismiss lang natin, lumiliit yung perception circle natin rather. We need feedback so that we can learn a great deal more about ourselves. Therefore, coming to terms with issues and increasing self-awareness and effectiveness as an individual. Okay? So yung Johari's window, baka i-post ko to sa video, but basically, imagine it has 4 squares. Okay? Imagine mo may 4 squares na yan. Ngayon, initially, dito nagkikita kung anong square ang mas malaki. Now, the square here, yung tinatawag nilang open area o yung tinatawag natin nung iba na itong square na to yung sinasabi nila na what everyone knows. Okay, yung what everyone knows na square o yung open area o yung open book, ito yung nakikita ng lahat ng tao. Ito yung pagkakaalam ng tao sa'yo at yung pagkakaalam mo rin sa sarili mo. So for example, maybe for this one, an example of this one, an open area and an open book is that I love the next generation. Open area, hopefully lahat ng tao alam yan about me, or I'm married, or I have one son named Jedi. Yan, open area, open book. Alam ng ibang tao, alam ko rin sa sarili ko. So that's the square there. The other one, yung katabi niya, is the blind side or yung blind area. The reality is tayo rin mismo, as person, hindi natin alam yung mga ilang bagay tungkol sa atin, pero yung ibang tao napapansin na to tungkol sa atin. Anong example niyan? Minsan, diba, may magsasabi sa atin. Actually, dito tayo naiinis sa chismis. Diba, yung parang sasabihin nila, alam mo, ang yabang mo daw. Alam mo, ang arte mo daw. Alam mo, parang ang snub mo. Nalalaman mo pa sa ibang tao. Pero ikaw, parang, hindi naman Pero yun yung alam nila tungkol sa'yo. Pero baka nga totoo, may blind side. Ito na yung nangyayari sa social media, nagka-cancel out. Lalo na pag kini-criticize. Minsan, totoo, minsan naman hindi. Pero yung unknown to self but known by others na square, diba? Yung una, known by others and known by self. Yung pangalawa dito, known by others but unknown to self. Ibig sabihin, blind spot yan. Kung nagda-drive ka na, alam mo na may mga parte sa kotse na blind spots. At sana iiwasan natin yun as much as possible. Kaya nga naglalagay tayo ng rear view mirror, may mga salamin sa gilid. Nakabangga na ako ng sasakyan kasi nga na blind spot ako. Nagpa-park ako pa atras pero hindi ko napansin na blind spot pala. Nandun na pala yung dingding. So ito yung mga bagay na na-observe ng ibang tao sa'yo pero hindi mo aware sa sarili, hindi ka aware sa sarili mo. Lahat tayo may ganito. So yung open book or open area or blind spot, known by others, unknown to you. Yung pangatlo is the hidden area or yung tinatawag natin yung secret. What is known to you and unknown to others. Yung mga tinatago nating secrets. Yan, siguro yung iba sa atin dito, may secret ka na may kawirduhan ka na parang ayaw mong ipaalam sa iba. Siguro ganun kasabaw, no? Siguro sa akin, no, parang what is known to me but unknown to others, na experience ko na makatulog na nakatayo. Hindi alam na ibang tao yan. Meron ba sa inyo dyan na naka-experience yan, nakatulog ka ng nakatayo? More than once ko na nagawa yan nung student ako, abang naka-duty ako as a nurse. Not all of it kailangan malaman ng iba, pero minsan meron din hindi healthy na secret. For example, an abuse. Someone hurt you before. A pain in the past na hindi na-process out. Sabi lang, okay na yan, mag-move on ka na. Tapos parang ikaw, parang hindi na ako maka-move on. So, ang nangyari, binaon natin sa sarili natin, tapos may mga memories na nakaraan, bumabalik, it's a secret thing, hindi mo na-discuss, hindi mo na-pag-usapan sa ibang tao. What is known to you, but unknown to other people. Ngayon, known to you and known to others, yung open book, known to others, but unknown to you, yung blind side, or yung blind area, or yung blind spot, yung what is known to you but unknown to others, yung hidden area o yung secret things. At yung pang-apat is unknown to you and unknown to others. Ngayon, syempre, no, dahil most of us here, we believe in a God, I like to call this square as what God knows. And only He knows. Now, alam niyo ba sa Bible, may mga ganong aspect si God. Sabi niya nga doon sa Revelation, and you would have a name that no one else knows. Diba? Grabe, no? May pangalan daw si Lord para sa atin na walang ibang nakakaalam. Ito yung mga secret things that belong to God. Ito yung mga bagay na hindi pa alam ng ibang tao at hindi mo rin alam sa sarili mo. An example of this one, obviously, is the future. Other people don't know your future. You don't know your future, but God knows our future. Another thing about this is the effect of our past sins or other people's past sins against us. Feeling natin sa sarili natin, okay na yon, pwede na mag-move on. Sa ibang tao, parang, okay, nasabi mo na yan, na-disclose mo na yan, wala nang problem dyan. Pero yung pala, ang laki pa pala ng impact niyan. At si God lang nakakaalam ng impact na yun. Okay? Ito yung unknown area sa puso natin. Ngayon, of course, the goal is to have a healthier well-being is to expand yung first square natin, yung open area, yung known to self and others. So how do we do that? Okay? How do we do that? Well, it starts sa sarili muna natin, an awareness. Okay? An awareness of our uniqueness. Okay? Sa sarili natin currently, yung hindi ka mayabang, aware ka lang na ito talaga yung kaya kong gawin, ito yung mga limitations ko, and so on and so forth. Yun yung base. Pero minsan, masyado tayo nasa stuck doon. May mga kilala ba kayo nagsasabi, ganito ako tanggapin na lang nila ako. Yan, nako. Pag ganun, nagka-cancel out na yon. Lumiliit yung perception circle niya, mahihirapan siya. Now, how do we have a healthy perspective and how do we increase our awareness of self and awareness of others also? O yung known to self and known to other people. Now, for start, okay, is living a life with integrity. Yung pareho ka sa labas, pareho ka pag maraming tao, at pareho ka lang pag mag-isa ka. And I think in this generation, that's something that we're having a hard time. Iba yung post natin sa Instagram natin, iba yung post natin sa Facebook natin, iba yung post natin sa Twitter natin, iba yung post natin sa TikTok natin. Tapos ngayon, sino ka ba talaga? Example nito ay, sa Facebook, medyo maingat ka, nagpo-post ka ng meme, nagpo-post ka ng konting rant, pero walang mura. Pero sa Twitter, nagmumura ka. Sa TikTok, siguro sumasayaw ka na medyo alanganin, pero sa Instagram, aesthetic lahat. Pero pag kausap ka sa personal, tahimik ka pala, o di naman kaya, pag kinamusta ka, sabi mo, okay lang, wala naman akong problema. Pero pag tinignan yung Twitter mo, obvious na meron. Walang integrity. Iba yung known to you and known to others. Minsan nga, hindi ka na rin kilala ng ibang tao o hindi mo rin kilala sarili mo. O minsan, kilala ka ng tao bilang Facebook na ikaw. Kilala ka ng tao bilang Twitter na ikaw. Kilala ka ng tao bilang YouTube na ikaw o Instagram na ikaw or TikTok na ikaw. Pero hindi nila kilala yung totoong ikaw. It's having integrity. It's being whole. Ibig sabihin ng integrity, integer or isa, buo. Ibig sabihin, kung sino ka sa isang platform, social media, kung sino ka offline, ikaw rin yun online. It's having that integrity na, Lord, ito ako personal na buhay, private o public. It's having that sense of integrity. Now, how do we also grow the first square when it comes to the other squares? Okay? Yung kanina sinabi natin na blind spot or blind area, how do we grow in that area or aspect as well? We grow when we ask for feedback. We grow by feedback, number one. And number two is when we listen. Ibig sabihin, hindi cancel out. Huwag natin i-cancel out agad yung mga bagay. Minsan may mga nagsasabi sa akin, Dave, alam mo, medyo mayabang ka. Parang ako, saan banda? Hindi ako aware. Pero may nagsasabi sa akin, eto, ganito, nung sinabi mo yan. Tapos na-realize ko, oo nga, no? Nung nag-asawa ako, ay, grabe! Maraming nasasabi si Ate Genyo tukol sa akin. Blind spot. Medyo mali pala, maangas yung pagsabi ko sa isang bagay, sablay, blind spot yung para sa akin, may naman problema. Pero para sa akin, hindi meron. Tapos yung inamin ko, yung iba pala mga tao sabi, nga no? Oo, meron. Blind spot ko yun, hindi ko alam. We grow in our square when we learn to ask for feedback and when we learn to listen. Makikinig. Huwag mo i-cancel out. Yung pangatlo is yung secret. Okay? How do we grow from yung malaki yung square mo, yung secret things that no one knows, pero ikaw nakakaalam? How do you grow it? You grow when you disclose or you share. And again, I've said this somewhere at the start of this episode. No? I've said na when you share something, especially when it's a private thing, medyo sensitive, maybe it's a pain, an abuse, or a hurt, it's helpful that you open it up to key trustworthy people. You know what? For some of you, baka dito kayo mag-message. As much as I want to help you, I may not be the best person to help you. We need to have people who will help us. At hindi lang basta na sabihan ng mga problema natin. I have people that I share parts of my life. Na minsan hindi naman kailangan isang tao sa kanya lahat eh. Minsan may pwedeng may iba-ibang aspeto. Ito para sa health, ito para sa mga takot mo, ito pero about sa issues mo. Kaya ang ganda, no? If you are not yet part of a church community, it's very important that you are part of that. Kasi marami kang tao na pwedeng pag-sharean ng mga pinagdadaanan mo. One way to build that square is that when we learn to trust and disclose the issues that we have in our lives to people that are going to help us. At least lang, pag ikaw yung taong pinagsabihan, kung hindi naman magiging part ng solution, huwag mong ikalat, chismis ang tawag doon. Paano mo malalaman kung chismis ang isang bagay? Pag nag-share ka o nakikinig ka at hindi ka naman part ng solution. Okay? Baka nga problem ka pa, pero hindi ka part ng solution, chismis na yun. If you are not part of the solution and you are listening and you are telling it to someone, then that's gossip. So that's another one. Now, the fourth one, the one that only God knows. How do we grow that? Kaya, posible. You know how? When we learn how to pray, seek God, and solitude. Alam niyo, sobra. Amazing. When we just learn to quiet ourselves. Patahimik ka lang. I've done this. And this is what I've been doing, at least for the recently. Sana nga, matagal ko na itong natutunan. Someone taught me when before this COVID-19 quarantine thing happened, nagkaroon kami ng retreat. And in that retreat, we were asked to seek God and reveal Himself about ourselves. Through prayer and solitude, silence, walang phone, walang distraction, iniwan namin yung anak namin sa isang kamag-anak para talagang nakafocus lang kami kay Lord, solitude, tahimik. Ang galing. May mga pinapakita sa akin si Lord na issues ko pala dati na hindi ko nalaman sa sarili ko. And all of a sudden, my awareness about self grew. And that's the power of praying and solitude. When we learn how to pray, it helps us trust God, of course, and trust also more of ourselves. Kasi pinapakita ni Lord, eto ka. Ito yung sinasabi ng ibang tao sa'yo, pero eto ka. Minsan kasi yung pananaw ng ibang tao at saka pananaw mo sa sarili mo, medyo mali pa rin eh. Pero pag galing to kay Lord, eto ka. We have a lot of that in the Bible. Si Jeremiah, sabi niya, bata lang ako, I am only a youth. Pero sabi ni Lord, you are a prophet. I'm sure hindi pinangarap ni Jeremiah maging propeta siya. It's something that he does not know. It's something that the people around him does not know. But God knows. Your purpose and destiny, God knows that. And when we seek and pray and stay in silence before Him and listen to God, i-reveal niya sa atin yung purpose niya sa atin. Another way that we can grow dun sa part na yan, yung no one knows, only God knows, the square, is that when we try stepping out in faith, when we do things na hindi mo akalain na kaya mong gawin. Kaya nga marami sa atin dito, yung mga naka-experience ng gumawa niyan, sasabihin mo, grabe, hindi ko pala kaya, akala ko hindi ko kayang gawin, pero nagawa ko. We've heard of stories. People who would say na, hindi ko nga akalain na magiging ganito ako, a public servant, a performer, or whatever. Tapos, they ended up doing like that. Why? Because no one knows. Other people doesn't know, they don't know, but God knows. But they discovered that about themselves when they start trying something new. So I want to encourage you with that. Seek God. Seek Him. Pray. Listen to Him. And when He reveals something to you, obey Him. Step out of your comfort zone. Imagine mo kung yung comfort zone mo, ito yung square na to. Okay? Pero yung sinasabi pala ni Lord, akala mo, ito ka, tingin ng ibang tao sa'yo, nandiyan ka sa loob ng square na yan, pero actually, ang purpose ko sa'yo, nasa labas ng square na yan. We need to step out of our comfort zone. Now, when we step out of our comfort zone, na papakita yung mga limitations natin, na papakita yung fears natin, kakulangan natin, pero when we obey God, when we trust Him, pinapalaki ni Lord yung awareness of yourself at pinapakita ni Lord yung mga ilang bagay na hindi alam ng ibang tao tungkol sa'yo. Only God knows. And that is the reason why it's so important. And it feels so good when we spend time with God because He reveals more about us as we pursue more about Him. And hopefully, itong mga squares na to, okay, itong awareness squares na to, using the Johari's window, is helpful. I hope you would use this also to have an awareness of self para lumaki yung perception circle mo at magkaroon ka ng healthy awareness of yourself through those awareness squares. What you know and others know, and God knows. What others know and you don't know. What you know and others don't know. And what God only knows or no one knows. Our prayer is that you will get to know more about yourself and at the same time, you will be connected with the people around you. Now, the question is, anong gagawin ko kung yung mga tao sa paligid ko, sila yung reason kung ba't ako nasistress? At kung nanghihingi ako ng feedback sa kanila, puro masasamang bagay yung naririnig ko. Hindi mo kaya yan, wala ka talagang kwenta, hanggang dyan ka na lang, ba't hindi ka na lang kagaya ng ganyan mo? At kung ganun lang yung maririnig ko, ay parang lumiliit lalo yung perception circle ko. Or parang ayoko nang pakinggan sila. Okay? What do we do when the people around us seem to be toxic and not life-giving? Yun yung magiging topic natin next week with our interconnected triangles. And once again, this is The Shapes of Anxiety, which is a series that we're doing. If you find any value with this one, please do consider subscribing in this channel and to my other social media accounts, Dave Estrera in Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Once again, this is Gona. Gona is a weekly episode that aims to help 15 to 25-year-olds make the most of their lives. See you again next week.